Hello, Daniel Farke has just held his press conference at Thorpe Arch to preview Leeds United against Bournemouth, which takes place on Saturday afternoon at Elland Road. Bournemouth, of course, on 10 points already this season in the Premier League. They're joint on points with the likes of Arsenal and Spurs, who they beat. They've got off to a great start this season. Very good team with a manager, of course, that Leeds United wanted at one stage and believed they could get when he was in La Liga, but were unable to bring him to Elland Road. He's done a great job at Bournemouth, and he brings a very, very difficult proposition to Elland Road on Saturday, when Daniel Farke will have Daniel James potentially ready to go. They'll take a late decision on the winger. He's back in team training this week, and it depends on how his body reacts to training over the next 24 hours or so as to whether or not he'll be available. Lucas Perry, however, will not be available. The Brazilian goalkeeper is not back in team training yet. He is out on the grass, so he has taken a step forward in his rehab from this quad problem. But Daniel Farke does not expect to have his number one in contention to play before the international break. So Carl Darlow, who's been excellent over the last two games, will continue to get the nod until Perry is back, and then Farke will have an interesting decision to make. Willy Gnonto, he's also not in contention for this game. He's not yet back out on the grass with the team. He still has some problems with his calf. Farke is hopeful of getting the winger back in team training next week, and then maybe he could be an option for the bench at least for the Spurs game. The real good news is that Jayden Bogle, who had his foot stood upon by a clumsy Wolves player on Saturday at Molineux, he has got back into training this week. There was no break in the foot, and it was simply bruised and sore, and he's back and gives Farke the option to go with him again, because you think his match fitness wouldn't really have been impacted by just a couple of days out of team training. So that's the team news for Daniel Farke. The other talking points are that he criticised his team for the way in the second half they gave up chances to dominate and keep possession and take the sting out of the game, I suppose, by going all too often for the quick counter-attack. There's a few times in the second half where they countered because there was space, because Wolves were pushing to try and get goals. But after they countered and had a shot or a cross, the ball was simply back with the hosts again, and Wolves were able to build another attack. You could see at times during the game that Joe Rodon was appealing for players to recycle the ball when it went out wide and bring it back so they could start again, set up, attack properly, and maybe just keep Wolves off the ball for a little spell. But instead, attacking players, I guess they saw space and they wanted to go into that space. Farke talked a little bit today about reminding players that sometimes it's about keeping the ball, because he wanted to go out and do in the second half what they did in the first half at Wolves. But really, it is nitpicking territory, because they went out and won that game 3-1, and they find themselves in very, very good mood, very good form going into a difficult game at Elland Road on Saturday against Bournemouth.